Yeah, kid. That was a Boston massacre. How do you like them apples? It's nice to see the Astros hitting at the rate they're hitting. It's not sustainable, but the last 3 games, holy crap. 39 runs, 57 hits. And you saw Jose Altuve get his first ever career cycle. Last night, Yordan Alvarez goes yard. He has 4 hits of his own. And the 13-4 victory last night has me feeling very strongly about this take. We all agree the Astros won the World Series last year due to their pitching. You had the top shelf talent in the rotation. You had a bullpen play out of its ass. They were incredible. And you got enough offense. But it wasn't that much. I took a look back at the score totals for every game through the playoffs. They averaged 4.07 runs a game, which was down from the regular season average of 4.55. Ooh, Paul's using numbers and statistics to make a point instead of going with his gut. Yes. Yes, I am, Sean Mapes. I am a mathematician.
Wait, why is that my voice?
I don't know.
Why is...
Listen, I need to fight.
That's not how I talk.
I need to push back against the people that always think I'm a baseball dummy, because generally they're correct. I'm just using you as a straw man to make a point, okay? This is how...
Paul, whatever you say. Keep giving me the numbers.
You sound like Droopy Dog from Hanna-Barbera cartoons back in the day. This year, it's different, right? With the Astros going into, hopefully, the playoffs. And I would point to yet another night from Christian Javier where it became a struggle for him to locate his pitches, to challenge hitters. And he doesn't go that long. Luckily, Jose Urquidy had his day out of the rotation. He comes in and he cleans stuff up. It's different this year because I just don't have a great feeling that the pitching is going to get back to this point. So I'm wondering how much of this recent offense is sustainable. Obviously, 39 runs and 57 hits over 3 games. That's effing insane. And it's really awesome to see. And honestly, you go back to their last 8 games, they've scored 7 or more runs in 5 of those games. We can't even make jokes about saving runs for the next night anymore. That's kind of cool, right? Like, we don't want to make that joke. Just seemed to be a weird phenomenon with the Astros, Sean, where after they score a ton of runs, the next night they don't score any.
Yeah, no, it's definitely better to not make that joke. To have it not be a case where, well, if they score a lot of runs, they're going to score no runs coming up. It is nice that they can score a lot of runs and then the next day come back and score a lot of runs again.
Yeah.
That to me, I know you're a baseball savant. That to me is a positive.
I agree with you.
If you can score a lot of runs, a lot.
It's a bold take, but I agree with you here, Sean.
Thank you. We'll take all the arrows together from all the haters
who think we don't know baseball.
Yeah.
We are baseball menses here.
A couple seam heads.
We like runs. Not those kind of runs.
No.
Like the poor Notre Dame podcaster who crapped himself. Look up that video. He definitely pooped himself.
Yeah, he has some response video out now, lying, saying that it was I forgot what he said, his calves cramped up or something.
Okay. Well, we're going to dive into this with our first college football 6-pack at 11:15 further, but you're so right. Man, don't call attention to it. Yeah. Just deny. You don't deny. You just ignore and move on with your life. Or you embrace it and you become famous because you embraced it. Now everyone's
Poopy Pants Notre Dame podcaster. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Let's bring it back to the Astros.
We'll have more on that later.
More on pooping Notre Dame podcaster later. But I know pitching wins championships. I'm convinced, though, that a deep Astros run is going to come because the offense is able to play at a rate Not quite, of course, the last 3 games. 9 runs, 14 hits on Saturday. 17 runs, 25 hits on Sunday. 13 runs, 18 hits last night. Like, that's obviously not going to happen.
But imagine if it did.
Oh, it would be amazing. If they truly became a Death Star and are just running up the score on people, that would be perfect.
Ideal. Yeah. Like I said, you want to score a lot of runs, a lot. So
right.
That would go into that.
Especially if it ends with them doing this to either the Dodgers or Braves. Because that is the cherry on top of this run is vengeance. Vengeance against the Dodgers for talking any trash. Stop having fans stab other people in parking lots. Clean up your own house. Homeless problem of California. I don't know why I turned it into that. And then on top of that, Atlanta, we got to get vengeance for not just this past World Series, but also basically an entire 2-decade run where the Braves just own the Astros. Except for that one time, I know there was the one series where the Astros did take advantage of it. But, I mean, it's a totality thing with the Braves. It would be great if it wrapped up with them scoring 13 runs a game in the playoffs against the Braves. That's not going to happen. But can they get a modicum of this offense? Can they get a bit of this? Is this something that's actually somewhat sustainable? I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. I love that Altuve had 4 hits last night. I love that Yordan had 4 hits last night. I love that we've seen Jeremy Pena hitting better of late. Alex Bregman's been hitting better of late. Actually, Kyle Tucker's kind of slumping. Hell, Jose Abreu hit a home run and he almost had a grand slam. Not that, a little bit later. That poor Bear Claw guy, my God. Like, Alex Cora, we know you're a cheater and a possible alcoholic because of that one story that was in The Athletic about how he almost got in a fight with Jeff Blum because Blum was telling him to turn the music down while he was trying to call his family during a hurricane. Alex Cora leaving that guy out against this Astros offense was kind of mean, and maybe that's why they were able to get as many runs as they did. But is this sustainable? That's my question to you. Is some degree of this sustainable? I think it has to be if they are going to win the World Series. This has nothing to do with the stretch run. If you've been listening to me, you know that I am 10 out of 10 confident. Said it with Josh Beard yesterday. 10 out of 10 confident that they are going to win the AL West. I still strongly believe it. I think anyone wavering right now is low-key soft. This Astros schedule down the stretch is easier than that of the Mariners, and I would say of Texas as well. So they should be able to win the West. But winning the World Series, it's always pitching, right? I don't know if the pitching is capable of doing it this year. Someone brought up a little bit ago when I mentioned the issues that Christian Javier had. They said, well, at first he wasn't bad. You're right. Dusty Baker said that. But then, of course, that inning happened again. He's not at the level where he was throwing an effing no-hitter in the World Series last year, or at least helping them get to a no-hitter in the World Series last year.
Yeah, and last year, like you said, was a lot of 1-run, 2-run games where the Astros just had enough offense. And really, it was the pitching, especially the bullpen, that just did not allow a run
Nothing.
in the postseason.
Right.
But you contrast that with the 2017 Astros. That was a much more offense-first squad.
Oh, yeah. Game 5 against the Dodgers in the World Series.
Yeah, that team was... they just would try to outscore you and really just try to survive until they could get it to the 9th inning. Is basically what the entire game plan was. Their best relievers that year were Charlie Morton and Lance McCullers, who would relieve each other's starts, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there is like the blueprint for the Astros, like not just for any team to do this, but specifically for the Astros to win like this. It's just a matter of can, like you said, some of this hot hitting sustain itself.
And it's hard to say yes when it's this productive. Someone on the text line from the 409 said, don't get excited about all the hits and runs as they came against bum pitchers and position players. Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox are the worst defensive team I've ever seen in my life. Still, they were this bad last year, and their pitching was not good, and they left that poor Bear Claw guy out there a really long time. Chris Sale, is he still good? All I think about when I think about Chris Sale is not what a dominant pitcher he is. I think about a conversation that I once had on the radio in Seattle when someone asked if I thought I could kick Chris Sale's ass. Like, just ask me that question for no reason at all. I hadn't said anything leading, and I was like, he has no ass, so I think I'd have a chance. I think I have a choice. I think I'd have a chance. No, that was a Freudian slip, I guess. Anyway, So, yeah, okay. I mean, it might be that they're just going up against bums. Detroit certainly sucks. So
yeah, doing it against Detroit and Boston is different than doing against Atlanta, the Dodgers, and I'd even throw Seattle in there too.
Boston does theoretically have a pulse, though. They did not seem to have much of one last night, and it was kind of interesting to see them zooming in on Alex Cora, whose eyes were watery as Bearclaw. What? I'm not alleging anything. While Bearclaw was out there, the AT&T Sportsnet camera crews did a great job of cycling through the reaction to leaving Bearclaw in there. They zoomed into, was it Verdugo in the outfield who was like looking back at the bullpen and noticed no one was warming up? They zoomed in on the bullpen and they were all talking to each other. A+ job by the producer of that broadcast. Seriously, that was very well done. And then Todd and Jeff started talking about it. And I was like, yeah, they must. I mean, that team is still in the race. Cora kind of screwed them over last night as far as their chances to actually win that game because it was back and forth until they just left Bearclaw in on an island to die.
Yeah, I don't know what their like bullpen rest situation is, or if they're like playing 20 straight games or something weird that happens in baseball where Alex Cora is trying to save his bullpen and like, hey, Bearclaw, you're just gonna have to grit through this one.
Yeah.
But it did seem weird, especially like you said, when Alex Verdugo, when it seemed like the actual players on the Red Sox were like, wait, what's going on here? Like, it felt like someone was about to raise their hand and be like, please let me.
They should have.
Please. I care about this Bearclaw guy. Have mercy on him.
It felt like one of those dramatic movie scenes.
It's a very Friday Night Lights, like, I'm going to make you, like, run until you fall down, Taylor Kitsch.
Like, yeah, Riggins was drunk, so they have him bull in the ring, and they're just all destroying him for the entirety of that. Yeah, my favorite reference for that, similarly, Pulo fighting all these people in his trial by combat and just yelling 13 over and over again. R.I.P. Ray Stevenson. I felt bad for Bearclaw. And the Red Sox, I'd be pissed off if I were one of those players and that happened. That wasn't right. Put in a position player.
Also, when surely they have a Martin Maldonado laying around.
Yeah,
so they can
throw a 41-mile-per-hour slider. Pretty low bar, guys.
Yeah, it's always kind of weird when you're like, yeah, we're just gonna have to, this guy's just gonna have to grit through it to save the bullpen, and then for the rest of the series, everyone's available out the bullpen. It's like, well, if you start losing tomorrow, then it doesn't matter. Like you just punted basically the first game in hopes that like, well, maybe we can salvage the next two, and you don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, hoping that it'll be a Pyrrhic victory for the Astros because they used up all their runs again. One last text before we move to the next topic. We won't face any of these pitchers in the playoffs. And what did we do against the last playoff team? Don't get too excited. They haven't proven anything in terms of turning anything around. I'm not. I'm saying that the reality seems to be right now that if they win a World Series, it's going to be because the bats are on fire. I don't think the pitching is going to do it, especially when Christian Javier has another rough day like that. Someone on the Twitch suggested what I was going to suggest in the next segment. It might be time to move Javier to the bullpen, especially if he's starting off the game the way that he did, which was better, not great still. And then, of course, he has that awful inning a couple of innings in. Like, it might be time to move him into that side of things. The Rangers, by the way, they almost lost to the Mets. They didn't quite lose, and the Mariners won too. So the Astros still a game back as that AL West race is very, very tight.